Hey everybody, I'm Bill Macbeth with Wood Artisan and welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. So tonight we're going to deep dive into some of my favorite products, some things that I use in the shop to keep myself efficient and track time, and some of the items I use to run my business. So let's start it off with new tool talk and tool review. I'm going to talk about Varathane weathered wood. This stuff is freaking cool. I was making samples for the bar build that I'm working on for the customer, and I chose Minwax Classic Gray. I chose one from Sherwin-Williams, and then I grabbed this Varathane one. Put it on, and it just looked like I wetted down the wood. I was like, what is this? So I read the instructions. It said just wait. So I came out and took some photos, and it started turning gray. Put the poly on at the end of the sample, and man, it just made it really just pop out. This stuff is really cool, simple to put on. And on the build, I'm going to do a time lapse of when I put it on the cabinet so you can actually watch that change over the course of 2 hours. Now, they do recommend 2 hours before you put any sort of finish on it. I'll probably let it go overnight just to see what happens before I put any poly coats on. And so that's Varathane weathered wood. That's all I've tried new this week. Like I said, my wife's been out of town, and it's been very hard to get out in the shop with the kids roaming around. They're inside right now by themselves, supposedly watching my tablet. I really hope they're not destroying the house. Good thing we have smoke detectors. I'm still reading Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. This book I bought, 10 years ago when it came out. I read it once, forgot everything. I'm about halfway through. It is seriously still motivating. Some of the technologies aren't as relevant as they are today, and I'm sure his new book that just dropped that I have to read next is relevant to today's technology. But the premise is still good. Get out there, get started, get something going, and just don't worry about anybody else. Just do your thing, and you'll be successful. And as long as you're happy doing it, keep on going. So my influencers this week, I have been... Probably because of the Crush It book, I have just been consuming massive amounts of influencer style media. So how to grow my vlog, how to grow my YouTube channel, how to build that personal brand, how to stay motivated, how to work that full-time job and stay motivated to do your side hustle until you can get that side hustle to be your full-time job. So I'll put the links in the description down below, but I read or watched this TED Talk called Blood, Sweat, and Sawdust by Eric Burge. And you know what? He just talked about going through high school, not being good, not really he said he didn't know how to read until later in life. I think that was just an idiom for it. So he just goes on and tells his story how he took a shop class, and then that shop class got replaced by computers. And then he went to high school and got to a vocational school, and that's when he first felt like he found his calling. And that school wasn't his calling. He still went off to do college and all that, but he always came back and, as a furniture builder. And he started off the whole presentation with a really awesome chair and with a really good story. So check out that link below. And then I've also been consuming some other media. A lady by the name of Amy Landino. She has just a bunch of content on running a vlog, how to just produce content, how to produce good content. It's pretty motivational. She's wrote a couple books I might go pick up. So that link will be down in the show notes as well. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. So I'm sure everybody's heard of the product called Trello. I'm sure if you've listened to any podcast out there with people who've talked about technology, they've mentioned the word Trello. It's a really cool product. So it is a visualization of your tasks, and you can move those tasks into different categories so that you can visually represent what phase you're in for me. So check out the video. We're going to drop to my desktop now.
All right, so we're at my desktop here, and we're going to open up my browser of choice, which is Chrome. These plugins should be available for most modern browsers, Firefox, Edge. Not sure about Internet Explorer. I haven't used that in years. All right, so I've already got my tabs open for what I'm going to demonstrate today. When you're logged into Trello, and this is the free account, you're presented with what boards you have created. In my case right now, I've only got a projects board and I've got a vlog board. But there's many other ways that you can use Trello to manage your day-to-day. I think one of the next boards that I create is going to just be a general task list, a personal task list of stuff that I want to get done. So we're going to go ahead and click on the projects tab. And then we're presented with swim lanes for my project phases. Now this is what's called a Kanban board, and this is part of an agile framework, and it's very familiar to me. I've spent 20 years in IT, like I've said, and this is how we manage our projects. For the past several years, this is becoming more of the norm. So it's very comfortable for me to see this and very comfortable for me to work in this, and it's very easy, and it's a very good graphical representation of what I want to get done, what I've got queued, and then in what phases I have each project. And it allows me to manage multiple projects, which I really don't have right now. But in the future, as I get busier and my name gets out there and I start doing more projects and doing more videos, then this will help me manage what I need to get done so that I don't get lost out in the shop and just sit there and waste time. So let's go ahead and talk about my swim lanes here. And so the first one is tasks. So for me, this is everything that I want to get done. You got upcoming craft shows here in the later part of the summer. I've got some builds for myself that I need to get done for my daughters. And then we go over to queued. So these are the ones that I'm getting ready to go either design or go straight to sourcing material because I've already bought a project plan, or it's one of those ones, you like to fly by the seat of your pants and not design it and do it on the fly. The next phase is design. So I typically use this when I'm doing my SketchUp, and I use this for when I'm delivering designs to a customer. And this allows me to track time to each of those tasks. My next one is process materials, and this would be the breaking down of sheet goods, material, getting it from rough to ready. My next swim lane here is build, and this is exactly what it is. This is the time that I've spent building the project. The finish is the finish time, and that is, putting the stains on, putting the polys on, lacquers, whatever you use. And then installation and delivery, if that's applicable, and then video editing as well, if that's applicable. And what's really nice is this allows me to keep track of what phase everything's in, and I could track time using a product called Toggle, which is also free. So let's talk about Toggle real quick. So you'll need a couple things if you use this. You'll go sign up for a free account, and you'll want to install the Toggle plugin for your browser. And then you'll want to configure the integration in for Trello. Now, unfortunately, Toggle and Trello do not communicate on mobile devices, at least not yet. So this is only for computers running, Mac or Windows. And you have to have one of these browsers with these plugins for it to work. So as an example, let's say I'm going to move Max Bed Build into the design phase. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to add a to-do list or a checklist, and I can import that in from another one of my projects. So if you use common tasks for all of your builds, this will work out real handy. Click Add. So design cabinet, you don't have to edit this because this is a bed. Break down materials, build case, build cabinet, all that good stuff. So we're in the design phase. So this is this one right here. I could go ahead and click this button, and I go to projects, and I'm going to choose a non-customer build project, and I'm going to add tags that says that I'm in the design phase, and I'm going to click done. So what this has done now is this has started a timer, and then you can see I've got my browser open and logged into Toggle already, and my tab here started to do a countdown timer. So you go about your design work. You go ahead and get everything done. You can keep notes in here. You can add your drafts. You can invite people to collaborate with you and use this as your workspace. You can use this to track, not through email, but track that I've sent this to a customer on this date, and then they approved on this date, and then you can move it to the next swim lane. So we're done. Took us a whopping 1 minute to design this. We're going to go ahead and check that off. And we are going to click out of that, and we're going to move this into process materials. And it's the same exact thing. I go back into here. I'm going to go break down materials. I'm going to start a timer. I'm going to choose the project, which is a non-customer build. And I am in the process material phase. Click X out of that, hit done, and you see the timer is started, and we go about our business. So this is really handy. I carry a laptop into the shop all the time, and I've usually always got this app open. And like I said, there are Android and iPhone apps for Trello, so you can at least see a glimpse of what you're working on, and you can take your notes as you're working. You will not be able to track time through Trello on your Android app. You'll have to actually have the Toggle app for your phone, and you won't be able to do it inside of just one area like you can on the browser. So we're going to go ahead and hit stop, and it records the time. So now we're going to pop on over to Toggle, and you can see that in my timers, I've got the Mac bed build, say that 5 times fast, what phase I'm in, what it's tagged with, how much time I spent, and now I could go and run a report. And let's say this week, we could just do a weekly. You can edit by client if you have that set up. You can edit by project. So we're going to do non-customer builds. And look, I've spent 1 minute on that total today, to date. So this is a very handy tool. So what we want to use this for is tracking our time as we do customer builds, or if we build anything, to make sure that we're getting efficient use of our time. Especially if you're billing to your customer. I bill right around $500 for a 10-hour day, and that's how I want to make sure that I'm tracking my time to make sure I'm profitable and I'm billing the customer the right amount of money at the end of the project. I don't do the hourly build. I do a by project build, and I go and estimate the hours. So it behooves me to make sure that I'm at or below those hours to remain profitable. The one other item that we have in this is called Zapier. If you watch Brad on Fix This, Build That, or you've listened to the Made for Profit podcast, you've heard him reference if this, then that. This is just like that. So this is an automation tool where you can build some automation into these web apps. So in my case, I'm going to take Trello and Toggle, and I'm going to build a Zap. So instead of making a new Zap, I'm just going to show you the one I've built. Go ahead and click Edit. So right now, all I'm doing is I have these 2 processes, and you only get 2 in the free version, and I think you only get 5 Zaps total in the free version of Zapier. So we're going to go to Edit Options, and I'll show you exactly what we're doing. So in my board projects, anytime that I create a customer label and add the customer builds label to it, it is going to initiate a call to Toggle, and it's going to create a project with that project name. So if you go over to here and you go to my dashboard, maybe not dashboard, you go to my projects. So right here is a customer build. I'm building a bar for a customer. I've spent 4 hours on it, and that was just in the design phase. So this automatically gets created. So when I go back into Trello and I click on that project, I can go ahead and set the timer and add everything to that project and track it. And this allows me to generate a really nice report at the end of the project to say, okay, I billed this amount of money to the client. This is how many hours it took, and that my daily rate minus the materials, this is how much money I made. Am I profitable? No, I only made this amount per day. Really ended up being 250 per day instead of the 500 rate that I want to be at. So this makes it really easy for us to determine exactly how much we're billing and how efficient we are with our time. And then it also gives us a time to beat in the future. So if somebody else calls us and says, hey, I like that bar I saw on Instagram, I want you to build one exactly like it for me, you could go back and say, okay, I shaved 8 hours off that build time because of the learning experience. So it's just a way to make us more efficient, helps me track my work that I'm getting done, and honestly, it helps motivate me to get out in the shop. I still work a full-time job. I want to turn this into a full-time gig someday, but right now it's a fine line. So that is it. This is how I use Trello in my day-to-day workshop. And if you found this valuable, awesome. Leave your comments about Trello in the comments section of YouTube. And thanks for taking a look.
All right, so that is how I use Trello and Toggle and Zapier in my day-to-day workshop life. So check it out, watch it again. There's a lot of good content in there. Go subscribe to my channel. I'm going to start dropping some stuff like this every week on Workshop Wednesdays. Hit the bell so that you get notified when those videos drop. If you like the content I'm producing, you can go support me. Go hit my website up, buy a shirt. Other than that, man, I appreciate everybody's taking the time to look at this and leave your comments. I'd love your feedback. Thanks.